JD, does every contract you do for every home close? No, that's definitely not the case here, right? When you're buying a home, there's contracts and they may be revoked or canceled for various reasons, and sometimes not by anyone's fault, it's just for different reasons, okay? So I'm gonna go through 5 reasons why contracts do cancel sometimes, okay? Number 1 is mutual agreement, okay? If you're buying a home and someone else is selling a home, and at a certain point you guys both don't agree on something, you're like, hey, this is not working out for you or for me, we can part ways, you can definitely do that. As long as you guys have both agreed to those terms, you can definitely both walk away and there's no harm, no foul, because you guys have both agreed to that, okay? So number 1 is mutual agreement at all times. Number 2, breach of contract. When you're buying a home, there's certain things you need to do and accomplish to make sure the transaction goes from start to finish, okay? So you have these certain dates and obligations. If you were not to meet those obligations or certain dates and whatnot, you're officially in breach of contract, okay? At that point, the seller can come and say, hey, you know what? You didn't do your part, we're gonna pull out because you failed to perform. That could happen on the other side too. As a buyer, you can say, hey, seller, you didn't do what you needed to do, so I'm gonna cancel because you're a breach of contract. Obviously, your goal is to have complete, clear communication through the whole process because that's going to happen. Things may be delayed for various reasons, but as long as you communicate to the either side of the parties, you can continue to proceed. Okay, by doing that in written form, which is very, very important, and that's called an addendum per the contract. Whatever addendum you do, it supersedes the original contract. So if things were to change, by doing an addendum and agree to both parties being executed, you can use that as a new official timeline and date to protect yourself, okay? Number 3, statute of frauds. Obviously, in any contract, it's got to be either oral, written, or implied, okay? In the state of Nevada for real estate, it's all got to be written. And that's super important. Heaven forbid you said, hey, I thought this was going to happen. And the other part says, what are you talking about? And you go, remember when we talked on the phone that one time? If it's not written and executed by both parties, it never even happened, okay? So that's a statute of frauds. You gotta protect yourself, make sure everything is written through the whole contract of what you want to see happen. So therefore, there's clear communication and clear understanding on both parties. If one person says something and the other doesn't agree, and they both don't agree, at that point, that can relinquish the contract, cancel the contract on both agreement. But that's what statute of frauds is about. Number 4 is contingencies. Contingencies. When you buy a property, let's say you want to buy a new property, okay? And you currently live in a property right now. In order to buy the next property, you must sell the property you currently live in, okay? That's called the contingency, okay? So per the contract, you say, hey, I want to buy your home, but I need to sell my home first. So tell you what, if I can sell my home and I'm going to buy your home, are you willing to agree with that? And they're going to go, yeah, sell your home and buy my home. Cool. But at a certain point, if your home doesn't sell, doesn't go under contract, there's a date and a timeline that needs to accomplish. And if it doesn't happen, the seller can go, hey, you didn't sell your home fast enough. I'm going to take the home off the contingency and back on the open market, okay? And as a buyer, you might be like, bummed, I didn't sell my home to buy your home, but then you might be more aggressive to lower the price, to do whatever you can, if you want the home, of course, okay? So that's called a contingency. Unless you qualify for both properties, the home you're buying and the current one you live in, if you can float both mortgages, then you're good. You don't need to do that. But typically, people want to sell their current property to buy the next property because the equity is coming from the current property to the next property, okay? So something to consider. That's called a contingency. If your home doesn't sell, you're not obligated to buy that home, and therefore you can cancel the contract. That's a contingency. And then number 5, right of rescission. So on this one, here in Nevada for our contracts, we don't have a right of rescission, but we do have something called the due diligence period, okay? During your due diligence period, there's a couple things that buyer wants to do. Do an inspection, do a final walkthrough to determine that this is the home they want to proceed with, okay? Because sometimes when you're looking at homes, you walk in the home, you might be overwhelmed, like this home is beautiful, the finishes, everything is pretty and whatnot, because you're so in that buyer mode, right? And that happens. But obviously having an educated and experienced agent like us to say, hey, I know you like the home. I know you like the finishes, but have you noticed this? Have you taken to take that that's missing a bedroom, what you wanted? Did you take that the primary bedroom's downstairs, not upstairs with additional rooms? That's our job. We see so many homes that we're not enamored by what we see. We're there to support you and guide you and protect you. So that's our job, okay? You might go into contract and realize if you do the final walk, or not final walkthrough, a walkthrough, or our inspection, and the buyer's gonna go, oh my goodness, I don't like this, I don't like this. The job was done shoddy. The upgrades were not what I'm thinking, kind of thing. And that happens. It does happen. But that's when you do your due diligence period, and you can cancel because of that. You are protected for that too, okay? And that's per the contract. So making sure that you have that in your contract to give you enough time to protect yourself if the property is not what you're thinking it was, okay? So those are the top 5 reasons that I think contracts do cancel. In a different market, some markets tend to cancel a lot more than others. Sometimes when it's a hot market, meaning people are just buying, a lot more cancels happen because people are just buying without seeing them, or just forgetting how to function. They're just putting offers, kind of thing, and a lot more cancellations at that point. When it comes to a normal market, even a seller's or buyer's market, less cancellations because you've negotiated things, you got better price points. So then those tend to cancel a lot less. So different the market, different how many cancellations you're going to see. How many times have you gone in Zillow and Redfin and see a home like, man, I really wanted that home. It's under contract, man. But then next week it's back on the market, right? You're like, is it bad? Was it an inspection? Was it the home falling apart? No, not always the case. For those 5 reasons why things tend to cancel. So not a bad thing if a home comes on the market. Just obviously ask the right questions with your agent. Why did it fall out of escrow? Why did it not go under contract? Therefore, it helps you formulate everything if you decide if you want to put an offer on that property. So hope to help you guys on contracts, why they can cancel. 5 reasons. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.